fallen out of my pocket. Hey everyone, welcome back to Topher Drives, where it's been another one of those weeks where I've had to pinch myself and calm my inner 15-year-old because I've been living with and daily driving this brand new 2026 Aston Martin Vantage S Roadster for the past few days. And whenever I have a car like this, it really puts everything in perspective for me, and it really sort of reassures that I'm making teenage me proud. The kid that would take DuPont Registry magazine to class and sneak it out of my backpack and read it while the teacher was teaching. If you're one of my teachers or my mom listening to this, I'm sorry. Anyway, we're not here to talk about past me. We're here to talk about this gorgeous Aston Martin Vantage. And I figured today we'd take you all along on a little drive and show you what this is like to live with. Now, I must explain, we're in a bit of a situation right now. Canada is very unfortunately on fire, so it's a bit hazy out. Also, we're in the midst of thunder over Michigan right now, so the air show is going on. There's been jets flying everywhere, helicopters, and stuff. So if there are some interruptions in this intro, I do apologize, but I think the sun is sort of coming through the clouds and telling me that everything will be okay. So what do we have here in front of us? Well, this is the new S variant of the Aston Martin Vantage, which has been facelifted for the 2025 model year. And when they say facelift, they really mean it. We've got a massive grille on this thing now and quite a bit more power. So this S model adds a bit of power on top of what we already got with the 2025 facelift, which was 656 horsepower and 590 pound-feet of torque. This S model bumps that up to 670 or 671. I've read conflicting numbers on that. So 15 or 14 extra horsepower. Torque stays the same at 590 pound-feet. We still have the glorious God's transmission, as I like to call it, ZF 8-speed automatic gearbox mounted at the back for an almost perfect 4951 weight distribution. And this is, of course, rear-wheel drive. Holy crap! Told you we're in the middle of an air show right now, so stuff like that will be happening, but makes for a cool intro. Aston Martin's also gone through and tweaked the suspension, they've tweaked the throttle tuning, and they've added these little red S badges to the fenders to let you know that you spent an extra $5,000 to get the extra power and extra aura, I suppose, with this car. This starts at $211,000 in its S Roadster configuration. This one as spec'd in Malachite Green over Phantom Gray, and a $10,000 Bowers & Wilkins sound system, which I'm excited to test out for you, comes in. Oh my goodness me. I don't think I've ever had quite the build-up to announcing the price of a car, but this comes in at $249,000, so sneaks in just under $250,000. And well, just looking at this thing, it gives me goosebumps, and I don't even think it was the jets flying over. It's just drop dead gorgeous. And I was thinking to myself, you know, this has the same 4-liter M177 twin-turbo V8 that's in the current generation Mercedes SL63. And we actually did a video very similar to this on that car last year. And that car is quite a bit less. It starts around $180,000, and you can even get the E-Performance version for less than this starts. But then I actually walked around this and looked at it, and my goodness, you know, the Mercedes SL is pretty, but it ain't this pretty. So let's quickly walk you around this. We'll jump in, we'll go for a drive, we'll rip around the performance loop, and then we'll get this downtown into the city, talk about what it's been like to live with this week, and show you a bit of what it's like to live with. I want to start in the boot, as the British would call it, because this is a British car at the end of the day, where I have not found a way to pop this without either using the key, which is absolutely gorgeous, or the button inside the door. More jets flying in the background there. But anyway, the boot has actually been quite useful for me this week. I have used it to go to Meijer to get some groceries, and we went to Costco earlier and figured out that if you want to have a festive Halloween trunk mat, Costco does sell one that fits perfectly in here, and Emily chose one that had some dogs holding pumpkins and things that we're excited to set out at our new house this fall. Some of you know that Emily and I just moved, so my life has been chaos, but we're still finding time to film these videos on these cars, which is the most important thing, of course. we've got this little leather strap to pull the trunk shut, but I think you could actually fit, maybe, might be tight to fit the golf clubs. Maybe if you took the tire kit out, you could do it. We've got this rear bar back here. That is very tough metal right there. Love to see it for added structural rigidity. Now this Vantage Roadster comes in just under 4,000 pounds, only about 130 pounds heavier than the coupe version of this, which is cool. Now, this is the second generation kind of the Vantage. I mean, the Vantage name was used back in the 1970s and the 1990s, but as we know it, the sort of modern Vantage started out around 2005, and that became kind of an attainable sports car within the last 5 to 10 years. In fact, you can find versions of those for 35 to 40 grand, and even these newer ones that started in 2019 can be had for the mid 60s. There was a really nice lime essence car that just went on VAT a few months ago for 65 grand. So they're attainable, and someday these facelift cars with much more power might be attainable as well. The Aston Martin Vantage is a car that gives us all hope, because I know if you're an enthusiast watching this video, you've shopped for an older Aston Martin V8 Vantage at some point in your life and thought, I could probably afford that. I know I have. So let's pop the hood and show you this M177 4-liter V8 motor. We'll open the swan door, which is on a shock. That is fantastic. You'll love to see it. And I'm actually feeling like a bit of a noob because I went to the wrong side of the car to pop the hood, but it gives us a chance to have both the swan doors open. There you go. More jets if you're into planes. This one's for you. We'll pop this massive bonnet, and you can see that this 4-liter twin-turbo hot V V8 does sit a bit far back, and all this does go into this being as close to 50-50 as possible. The engine sits mostly behind the front axle. The gearbox is right around, I think, just in front of the rear axle, so everything is kind of contained in the middle here. Again, to reiterate, 670 horsepower, 590 pound-feet of torque, and this was hand-built in Great Britain with final inspection by Sir Lewis Noble III of Buckinghamshire. I made that last bit up. It's just final inspection by Lewis Noble. But come on, is that not the most British name you've ever heard? Thank you, Lewis, for your craftsmanship. We will be sure to enjoy it tonight. This is fantastic. We have some active sort of induction bits here. You can see these vents are all legit on the hood. I love a bit of craftsmanship, and just a whole lot of room here in the front. And even though there's no V12 option for the Vantage anymore, we may see this come back. The last time Aston put an S badge on a Vantage, it did have a V12 and a 7-speed dogleg manual gearbox. So I know this isn't that, but hear me out, and please give this a chance tonight as we go for a bit of a drive. Now, before we jump in, I want to talk tires, because these are some impressive ones. This is the new Michelin Pilot Sport S5, and the little AML badge on here tells you that these are specially made for the Vantage S. On the front, a 275/35 ZR21, and on the back, we have a 325/30 ZR21. So pretty wide here. We've got the meats, and this just has the steel brakes. You are able to option on some carbon ceramics, and the configurator for this car is absolutely nuts. Aston Martin really takes this to the next level and offers this car in just about any exterior and interior color you can think of. I mean, I think everything short of like yellow and pink you can have on the interior. There's purple, there's blue, there's green, there's red, there's orange, there's burgundy, there's black, there's gray, there's brown, there's white, there's tan. Might be missing some, but they're all there. And this one, it has red seat belts, which is an interesting choice because there's no red anywhere else on the car except for the S badges and the reflectors in the back. So I don't know what the logic was, but hey, I love a little bit of splash of color in an interior. I mentioned earlier this has the Phantom Gray interior, which I think looks nice, and it's a nice sort of classic Aston Martin spec here with the Malachite Green and the Phantom. It goes together nicely. The sun is still trying to poke through. Man, it looks good on this paint. I'll put a shot of this paint in the sun because the sun was out when I pulled into the lot earlier, and now we've just kind of lost that privilege, but it's okay. Right, why don't we go ahead and jump in and step over this beautiful door sill plaque Vantage S, hand-built in Great Britain. It's all about the details. You know, Aston Martin is good at this sort of thing, even though they are borrowing some bits these days from Mercedes-Benz. The steering wheel as an example, and the engine in this car is another large example of that, of course. And since this door is on a shock, you do have to pull this closed. And this doesn't have soft close, which I was a little bit surprised by, but that's okay. I forgive it. Let's go ahead and fire it up. And this car is kind of old-time rock and roll in the way that it doesn't have any sort of 48-volt mild hybrid system, so you do hear the starter motor when this comes to life, but I like that. I like a good old-school sports car, and I feel like the Aston Martin Vantage is always a good example of that. Now, obviously, this is the Roadster, and I started this with the top down. Now, I'm going to put the top up just so I can put this back down, just to show you how quickly this goes. Now, Aston Martin claim that this is the fastest convertible top on the market right now. It's able to go down in just 6.8 seconds. And you can operate it at speeds of up to 31 miles an hour, which is 50 kilometers an hour, don't you know? Now inside we have some other exciting things to talk about. For one, lots of physical buttons. This got a completely new interior for the 2025 facelift with lots of buttons. I think this already had buttons before. I never drove a pre-facelift car, but I have seen pictures of them. It just looked a little bit more jumbled, and this kind of organizes everything quite well. We have wireless Apple CarPlay, Android Auto, and if you have an iPhone, you're in for a treat because this Vantage is one of just a couple models that has CarPlay Ultra, and keen-eyed viewers would have already noticed that here in the gauge cluster. The regular Aston Martin UI sort of design of their infotainment, not really the biggest fan of that, but the Apple CarPlay Ultra does solve that, even though this has been trying to pair my phone since we've gotten into the car. Ah, yes. Right. Okay, we've got CarPlay Ultra going now. It's only been a couple of minutes, but I have been able to watch planes go over while I got this sorted out. So the cool thing about CarPlay Ultra is you're able to do more than normal CarPlay. So you can actually go into this menu Vantage settings and you can mess with actual stuff in the car. So I can change the tuning of my $10,000 sound system. I can go through and mess with the settings of my lights, my display brightness. All this stuff that normally you'd have to go into the car's built-in infotainment has now been worked into CarPlay. So that's pretty cool to experience here. Ooh, blue. I don't understand how they don't all just crash into each other. Anyway, you've seen CarPlay Ultra. What else is there to show you? Well, lots of good physical buttons that you got a little bit of a sneak peek to earlier. My favorite is twisting the start-stop button to change my drive mode. That is quite nice. And something that's funny about this Vantage S is that the most normal drive mode is sport. There is no normal. There is no comfort. You are in sport all the time. So that is pretty cool. Just kind of accentuates the S letter that's on the fender of this car. Seat controls are on the center console. You've got 3 memory settings right there, and then you've got physical button for the headlights, the fog lights, all that stuff. Massive metal paddle shifters. You've got a big volume knob over here on the right. You've got a volume slider on the steering wheel as well. Pretty much everything you want in the car is here, and they even have a physical dimmer switch for the Topher. Little hidden compartment back here, which I'm currently using for my Costco receipt from earlier, and a window sticker for the car. But I'm tired of sitting in this parking lot. Let's go drive this. Let's put the red seatbelt on and go make some noise. Into reverse pulls up our parking cameras and shows the Vantage as a Monopoly piece, which is pretty cool. But despite that, everything is very clear. And I think if we do our blades of grass test back here, we can back all the way up here. Yep, that is Ultra HD. Very nice. And to drive, that will pull up your front camera. Pretty important for a car like this that does have limited ground clearance. You never want to bump the front and, you know, mess up your beautiful front splitter. Initial driving impressions with this Aston Martin Vantage are good. And you guys know that I like a good, chill, sort of grand touring experience. And the Vantage isn't really that in terms of Aston Martin, because if you wanted a grand tourer, you'd go for the big boy. You'd go for the DB12 Volante. Wow. Someone count how many times I've said wow. I used to be on my school's news show back in high school, and my teacher, Mr. Bush, had a strict policy of never saying wow, and I am breaking that rule right now, so sorry, Mr. Bush, if you're watching. Kia Stinger. Anyway, what were we talking about? Okay, Grand Touring. So even though this is sort of the sports Vantage, and it's the S version of the sports car, it is still cozy. But boy, does it rip. And, you know, I like that Aston Martin has kept the 8-speed ZF in this as opposed to going with the AMG Speed Shift 9-speed, because it does make this feel a little bit more unique from the SL63. They've also managed to make the 4-liter M177 in this sound a bit more unique compared to its Mercedes counterparts, so I like that as well. Let's put this into Sport Plus. That'll open up the exhaust, but I am going to put the suspension back into normal, and we'll put the gearbox into manual. And we'll make some proper noise. What a machine! Into the brakes. Got a bit of air show traffic, so we'll be nice to all these people. Though I feel like they do probably appreciate a shrieking Aston Martin Vantage. You know, these are enjoyers of fast, loud machines of the sky. Stiffen up the suspension and we'll take a corner. This sounds like, it sounds like a NASCAR. This is like a very sort of American sounding rendition of this 4-liter V8, and I absolutely love it. And those pops and cracks, yes, those are unapologetically Mercedes AMG, but I'm glad that they left them because I love a good pop and or burble. Quickly soften the suspension. There you go. There it is. All right, while we have the road to ourselves, let's stop and do a race start. I'm gonna put this into track, I'm gonna put the gearbox back into D, and I'm gonna turn off my traction control. And then it's as simple as a brake boost, and off we go. Holy crap. The key has fallen out of my pocket. Okay, let's be respectful to these air show enjoyers. Hello. Looks like maybe some of them are packing up. Hello. Nothing to see here. That was not me. Okay, let's go back into Sport Plus. I'm going to turn my traction back on. I'm gonna leave gearbox and manual. This is the way I like enjoying this car, you know? Revs to 7,000 RPM, and sometimes it sounds a bit like an S65 in an E90 Generation M3. What a thing, what a night. This is the first car we've had in a while that has given me actual goosebumps. I mean, Aston Martin, you know what this is? This is special. And you don't really get a lot of that these days. You know, the other car we have this week is an Audi Q3, and while there were cool things about that, like the turn signal, yeah, that was kind of fun and things, and it was a cool color. You just, you drive those cars and you're just uninspired. This is very inspiring. This car makes me want to keep going because I want to have one someday. Oh, what a thing. Okay, let's talk about how this actually performs now that I'm done watching airplanes, listening to V8 noises, and giggling. The throttle tuning on this is quite nice. It is a little bit touchy, as are the brakes, but it's something that you get used to pretty quick. I was putting myself almost through the windshield for the first day or two driving this, but I am used to these inputs now, and honestly, they do feel pretty appropriate for the car. Really able to use that torque. I'm going to put this back into D and back into Sport or Normal, and we'll get this merged onto the highway. Ride quality in this is fantastic. Of course, we have adaptive dampers on all four corners, and these are specially tuned for the S model. But you wouldn't really know from a daily driving perspective, because even on these 21-inch wheels with the rubber band sidewalls, this soaks up everything. And to go back to my point from about 10 minutes ago when we first started driving, it really is a grand touring sports car. I mean, you get this thing out on the highway, you've got the top down, windows up, this little glass wind deflector. It's just such a serene experience. I mean, you really don't have to raise your voice all that much when you're on the highway with the top down. Because of this, you do have to watch your speed a bit, but you are able to see kind of the haze on the horizon here. Canada, you are on my mind right now. You're also in my nose, but jokes aside, you know, I keep seeing a lot of people that are like, how dare Canada make it so we can't go outside. Meanwhile, people in Canada are literally losing their houses to this fire, so I think we need to be a little more empathetic to our Canadian friends, our neighbors, but that's just me. Anyway, Aston Martin, going over those bumps there, it's fine. Seat comfort seems to be good. The rest of your experience on the highway, we'll talk about that here right now. Cruise control is pretty simple. You just click the set button, and that's it, because cruise control is always engaged. And then this does have a bit of a lane keep assist situation, which when the Topher and I swapped cars this week, and I so graciously gave him the Audi Q3, he told me the first thing you should do when you start up the Aston Martin Vantage is hit this button and turn off the driver assist. I haven't done it. It doesn't bother me that much, but it is very dramatic. If you do go over a line, the car does freak out. I'm going to turn my lights on. For some reason they're not on, even though it's sort of dusk. It's great. I've got no complaints. Seating position is fantastic. You sit nice and low in this. Seat comfort seems to be nice, even though I do keep forgetting that the seat controls are on the console. I keep reaching down here to feel my lumbar, and it just isn't there. So all of that's there. That's okay. Elbow comfiness, that's good. I've got a good amount of squish here on the center console and the driver's door panel. And ergonomically, you're able to set yourself up really nice here to rest your hands on the bottom half of the steering wheel. Visibility out of this V8 Vantage, lovely. And the mirrors, very cool design. They stick out super far, but I think they have to, because the back of the car is so wide. If they were in further, you would just see the car. And even with them being positioned out pretty far, I am able to admire my haunches there in the back. And in the rearview mirror, I can admire my very pretty sculpted roll bars. What a beautiful night it is. Beautiful night, beautiful car. All right, let's cancel the cruise control, because I want to make some more noise. Guys, it's really fast. Like, this is one of the fastest cars I've driven in a while. Jeez, it absolutely rips. I put fuel in this yesterday. I've only driven it, I think, twice. Burned almost half a tank of fuel. If you care, this gets 15 mpg in the city, 22 on the highway. We're not doing that. We're doing less. And there is some way to view that. I know if you swipe across here, there's different sort of iPhone-looking gauge cluster designs. Many to choose from. That one's red. That's kind of cool. Should we leave that one? Or you can have your full screen Waze or whatever sort of navigation app you desire. You can have that there on the screen. I love this cluster. Maybe we'll go to the red one though, just to sort of switch things up a bit for the rest of the video. Introduce some red to match the seatbelts. Why don't we? I figured with a car like this, even though, you know, Emily and I live in a new city now, I wanted to revisit like a sort of biblically accurate Topher drives video and just do our classic route. Oh, I love this car. Okay, we have to straddle that guy. Luckily, we have the clearance to do so. What a machine! What a sound! What a soundtrack! What a view! And if you're interested in a no talking version of this video, which I'd understand if you desired that, head over to the Winding Road Magazine YouTube channel. It's probably not up yet at the time that this video goes live, but it will be probably in a few weeks. Oh, man. Alright, I'm going to de-firm up my suspension, put that back into comfort, and take the gearbox back out of manual. We'll chill in regular drive. Alright, so what is this like when you get it into a city setting? I'm going to put this back into sport, actually, so the gearbox behaves normally. It's good. I mean, we talked about inputs earlier, and, you know, they call the base drive mode sport, but it is still decently civilized. You know, going around town, it's not pulling, like, insane downshifts. Suspension is tuned to a good level. Door panels are very high up, though. You kind of can't, like, rest your elbow on them. Auto stop start. Physical button there to kill that if you don't want it. I think we'll leave it on. I don't really care tonight. Feeling mostly unbothered. Oh, one thing I don't like about this setup, the heated and ventilated seats, which are at least audible, very easy to bump. If you're going to like change your fan speed, it almost always turns the heated seat on. But it is really hard for me to come up with things I don't like about this car. Obviously it is expensive, but it's an Aston Martin. I feel like if you're going to complain about the price of an Aston Martin, you just find something else to complain about. Even this bit, where your knee does sometimes rest on the console, is leather wrapped and padded. It's a nice Cayman. Nice car, sir. Alright, let's quickly pull this into the grocery store parking lot. I don't need anything, but I want to show you kind of the parking situation and what this is like in a spot, because it is quite a wide car. You know, it isn't that long, but it is, you know, she's got some hips. So let's see how it fits in a very sort of traditional spot. We'll go for the end right here. Steering is quick. It's got a nice medium lightness to it, and it makes this Vantage nice to maneuver. Now, one thing I don't super love is like the angle of this backup camera, because you have these little bumperettes back here for low impact crashes, and they do kind of skew your view. parking sensors there going off, making sure we don't bump the curb. Into park, parking brake will automatically apply. If it doesn't, it's down by your left knee. I'm going to leave this running so we don't lose our CarPlay Ultra. We'll open up our swan door, which will stay in place. You'll love to see it. I just wanted to stop and admire this one more time because it is just so damn pretty. But it does fit in a spot just fine. I mean, this is kind of a big spot right now, but, you know, able to do your normal stuff, your day-to-day life, if you're going to daily drive an Aston Martin Vantage, which I would recommend you do, because it has been quite good for that. I've put over 100 miles over the last few days on this car, and it's done me quite well. Ingress and egress is good. You never have to worry about the door coming and hitting you. I do sometimes hit my butt on this bolster getting in and out of the car. And then there's the key, which is, I think, maybe the nicest key currently on sale. You even get the little bit of glass with the Aston Martin badge, as I think probably a tribute to when you used to push these keys into the dashboard and they would start the car. I drove an old Vanquish that was like that, and it was super special, but it's a very heavy key. It falls out of my pocket all the time just because it has so much weight to it. Other like living with things, you know, you've got cup holders in here. Emily and I used these for our coffees earlier. Center console's got enough room for the phone. These door pockets have nice space. And you've even got a little hidden compartment here under the center stack of buttons. So really decent places to put things. I showed you this earlier, but I mean, man, talk about proper Grand Touring stuff, even though this isn't even the Grand Touring Aston. So all right, as we make our way into the city, why don't we give you guys a sound system test, and we'll wrap up our thoughts. Hello. Everyone just breaks their neck at this car. Now, you do get a volume slider down here. It does blend in with all the climate controls, so you have to make sure your thumb's on the correct thing. Sound system in this is excellent, and I'd expect nothing less with a Bowers & Wilkins, and especially one that is a $10,000 option. It's like one of the main options on this car. It's funny. Obviously, the Monroney will be down in the description for you guys, or at least the build, the spec, as I do. And it's the first time I've ever seen this. Aston Martin has a special line in for tariffs for import costs. It's like a $7,900 addition to this car. But anyway, sound system, very good, powerful, crispy highs. These little tweeters here on the corners of the dashboard look like electric shavers. Check those guys out. And then you got the big one here in the middle. You got, I mean, Bowers & Wilkins always just does such a beautiful job with their speaker grills, and it really accentuates the, you know, already existing very high quality in the interior of this Vantage S. I want my green gauges back. I miss them. I'm sorry. I think one of my biggest takeaways from driving this Aston Martin Vantage this week is how confidence inspiring it is as a daily driver. I have not once hesitated to grab the key to this to go run an errand or to go do it, to leave my house for any reason. I feel comfortable doing it all in this, and I think it's because it has a soft ride quality. It's got adequate tech. It's got a good sound system. It's easy to get in and out of, mostly, you know. Emily likes it. It's not a blustery convertible experience. I mean, it's sort of just all the right stuff and the recipe that I look for in a daily driver, supercar, or sports car. It kind of just checks all the boxes for me. Not to mention, it's very fun to drive. It sounds really good. The steering's got a good weight to it. And it's been fun to mess with this CarPlay Ultra this week and just kind of go through all these different settings that I've never experienced. auto stop start does take a little bit longer to start that engine than I would like, and I think that's the one advantage you get with a mild hybrid system, is that essentially the second you lift your foot off the brake, the car is already in motion. It's just not the case with this. So I have found myself turning this off, just because you do feel a bit like you're holding up traffic, and you never want to hold up traffic, but especially not when you're in an Aston Martin. You just feel even more pretentious. But you know what? I feel like Aston Martin, I don't want to say it's quiet luxury like a Volvo, but there is a bit of, I don't know, it's sort of like classy luxury supercar. It's not as look at me as something like a Ferrari or a Lamborghini. Like if you have an Aston Martin, like you probably know something that other people don't. So people don't look at you in a hateful way, like when they see you in a Lamborghini and they just immediately, people hate you. This, I think they're a bit more intrigued, you know? They stare without glaring. And that's nice, you know? If you want a bit more of a, oh my goodness. If you want a bit more of a stress-free experience, then maybe this is the car for you. I haven't had anyone refuse to let me in traffic this week, which is something I find happening a lot when I'm driving a Porsche or a Lamborghini. No one wants to let you in. And this, no problem. Well, here we are downtown, ending a video that I really don't want to end because I'm obsessed with this car and I want to keep driving it, but happy that you all came along with me tonight in this bewitching Aston Martin. I mean, I don't really know how else to put it. Oh, this is $10 right now? Come on, man. That's okay.
Please select an event from the screen. Welcome.
We'll do it for the ideal outro spot. You guys remember when these Ford Fusions came out and everyone said they looked like an Aston Martin? Still kind of think they do. So anyway, that's been a little evening commute here in the 2026 Aston Martin Vantage S Roadster. What a thing this is, and I hope I didn't leave anything out, but if I did, you guys know you can always ask me in the comments. I do my best to get back to you. But I love having the opportunity to live with cars like this, and obviously it's all thanks to you guys continuing to watch these videos. So if you still like them, keep watching them, keep supporting, keep liking, keep subscribing, all the stuff that Tedward always tells you to do. It's very much appreciated. But this car as a whole, it's been lovely to live with. And you know, I think, oh man, the roof is shut. That's unfortunate. That's okay, we'll pull up right here by it. I think just the fact that this car has been so daily drivable. No rooftop access after 9 p.m. It's 8:26. Come on, man. I think the fact that this has been so accessible, so confidence inspiring for me this week to daily drive, you know, kind of tells the whole story of this being a very nicely well-rounded daily driver sports car. And let's put this top up because I do want to show you what that looks like. And we'll shut this off. This has been a car that I've looked forward to walking out to my new garage and driving. I can't wait to show you guys the new house, the new garage. I haven't quite gotten there yet, but stay tuned if you are curious to see the new digs that we've spent the last month or so moving into. But big things are happening. This has been a lot of fun this week. Thank you guys for bearing with me through this very chaotic time of my life. It's been nice to have you along for the ride, and I hope you've enjoyed this little evening in the Aston Martin Vantage S Roadster. I know I have, and again, if you have any questions, if I left anything out, please let me know, but that's going to be a wrap for this one. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you next time. Take care.